Cafe for Cafe Mosaic at 600 Davis Street. Staff recommends the approval of a first-time application for a Sidewalk Cafe at a Type 2 restaurant located at 600 Davis Street.
Is there a second? Is Ms. Rahana here? Somebody here from Cafe Mozart? Oh. You're on our list to speak. Would you like to say a few words? Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. We're
How
fine.
is everyone?
Speak it right into this.
Name and address.
Could you tell us your name and your
I am
relationship?
Amina Rahima. I am owner for Cafe Mozart. I just started this year, beginning 10 months ago. And I work up I build the business. I hope the sidewalk help me more for bring people in and work very good for business.
Right. How is business?
Is a cafe
Is business good?
so slow?
Everybody go to Cafe Mozart.
Yes.
Okay, anybody have any
So-
questions? No? All right. Well, it sounds like a very good idea.
Okay,
And
thank
we're
you.
supporting.
Thank you.
All those in favor of supporting the approval of the first-time application for a sidewalk cafe at Cafe Mozart? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Good. This will go before the council tonight. Does anybody feel she should stay? No. You can go home.
Thank
We're going to recommend approval.
Thank you. Have a nice day, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 40R14. Alderman Wilson? I mean, it's Resolution 40R14.
This is Resolution 40R14. 40R14, amendment to the professional services agreement for the Evanston Main Street Transit-Oriented Development Study and Plan. Basically, this is extending the time for the completion of the study.
Okay. All right, second. I know that staff has a presentation to make. Do you want to make it now? Is that okay? Okay, all right.
I'll be very brief. About a year and a half ago, a study was started partnering the city with RTA, and that was to discuss the Main Street and the Chicago Avenue corridor. Basically, that study really wanted to look at potential future improvements to that station, as well as strengthening the the Metra CTA stations, the connectivity there, increase connectivity with bicycles, walking, and transit, and to identify some public open space. A lot of recommendations came out of that study. I'm not going to go through all of these, but this graphic shows you that there's a lot of potentials. Most of those things actually will be the RTA or the CTA's responsibility. The city, though, could tackle some low-hanging fruit, which we'll consider in the future. Things like adding bicycle parking to the stations, doing some crosswalk improvements, some wayfinding signage, some real low-hanging fruit, like I said, could be potential actions in the future.
I think the bicycle parking is just critical. I mean, we just don't have enough of it, so,
But we are recommending adoption.
yeah, okay. Any comments, committee? No? No? All right, there's a second. All those in favor of recommending the extension to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Nguyen? P3?
Yes, I move approval of adoption of the Main Street Transit-Oriented Development Study.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Any discussion of this? Do you want to make any comments on this one? No. All right. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is P4. Alderman Fisk?
I've got him.
P4?
Thank you. Ordinance 72014, parking variance for 802 Florence. City staff and Spark Committee recommend adoption of Ordinance 72014, granting major zoning relief necessary in order to subdivide a lot with 3 legal nonconforming dwelling units into 2 lots of record. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends denial of the zoning relief because the proposal is intended to extract additional income from the property, does not provide a public benefit, and is not the minimum change necessary. This is for introduction.
All right. Is there a second?
Second?
All right. Committee, there are two speakers signed up for this. We have Karen Pratt and then Ann Harkin. Okay. Go right ahead. Give us your name and address,
Sure.
please.
Good evening. My name is Karen Pratt, and I am the owner of 802 Florence. The bank and I are the owners of 802 Florence. And I would like to make a correction. I thought I made it very clear to the zoning board, I am not doing this for financial gain. I am doing this because if I cannot divide the property, I will have to sell the entire property. I've been there for 22 years. I was an Evanston teacher for 28 years. I developed the whole corner from pretty much a dump into the beautiful piece of property it is today. I would like to keep my home, which is 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. It's plenty big. The yard is plenty big. The 2-flat, when you look at the plat, it doesn't look that large. But if you drive by the property, you would understand nobody even knows it's one piece. Everyone is astounded. So I would like to sell the 2-flat, which is why I would like to divide the property. I've been an Evanston resident for 29 years. When I bought the property, it had been on the market for 3 years. In order to sell this property, it's going to take me a very long time. I don't really have the financial means. I've retired from the Evanston teaching system. My income has been cut in half. My taxes are at $12,000. My insurance is $4,000. So you do the math. I cannot afford the property any longer. So I am just kind of begging, hoping that maybe you will let me separate this property so I can sell the 2-flat and be able to keep my house. Okay. Thank you.
Ann Harkonnen. Yeah.
I forgot one important thing, and that was the off-street parking. There is a 2-car garage and an apron. If that is the main issue with this, I'd be happy to share the garage and the apron, and we would have 3 off-street parking spaces. Okay? All right. Thanks again.
My name is Ann Harkonnen. I've been a resident of Evanston for 42 years. I know some of you from being around for a long time. I came here to speak in Karen's behalf. I live about a half a block away from Karen. Karen's property, the 802 part, it faces Florence. Her little house faces Florence. The 2-flat she speaks of faces Washington Street. And so when she said that it looks like it's 2 single properties, it's because of the configuration of the property. I live at 1524 Main, or 1524 and a half Main. And if you look at the plat, you probably don't even see where my house is. But my house is one house east of Main and Florence. And in the front, and on the Main Street side, is a single-family dwelling. And mine is a little house that's off the alley in the back. And my property is divided as a condo. It's one of those unusual situations that's fee simple. The house in front has its own property tax number. I have my own property tax number. We have nothing in common. We have no assessments. The only thing we have in common, I think, is a sidewalk that goes from Main Street back to the alley. We have dedicated parking so that the person in front has a dedicated parking space off the alley. I have a dedicated parking space off the alley. It's worked this way well for 15 years. And so my thought and consideration, if this group does not see that they could completely separate Ms. Pratt's property, that they could at least maybe consider doing a condo situation just like mine, which would then allow her to sell the 2-flat, allow her to remain in her little house, and also take care of the parking issue, because they could then, as a condo, share that garage. They could have a dedicated parking space, and they could figure out who got what part of the garage and part of the apron. So it was just another thought. Otherwise, I'm afraid Ms. Pratt's going, as she said, going to have to sell her property, which would be really unfortunate. Do you have any questions, or if I made?
We'll just see.
Okay,
We'll have a
thank you
little
very much.
discussion, probably. Thank you. Alderman Burris, would you like to speak to the committee?
Yes, I apologize.
We're honored to have you.
Yes, this is in the 9th Ward, and I am in support of this. Separating, if you walk past it, it's very clear that they're completely separate, and you can't tell the garage which house it belongs to, and I just walked past it this morning, and I have no problem with it, and I have not heard from any neighbors that there are any issues with subdividing this.
Thank you. All right, committee, any discussion?
I think we should
Alderman
do it.
Wilson?
I think we should do this. It's, as Alderman Burris indicated, it's clearly two buildings, and it's just unfortunate that they wound up in this situation. The condo idea is an idea, but I do have residents in my ward who did something like that to only find later that as far as lending goes and finding financing for resale of the property, that really, really can complicate things. So,
I'd be very careful about that, too.
yeah, so I support the request.
All right, anybody else want to comment?
No, I'm supportive.
This is going to be moved for introduction. This is on here as a denial. Where's our attorney? Ms. Mason, should we, if we're going to introduce this, should we introduce this based on the prevailing thought of the committee to not deny, or should we just introduce it as it is? Do you know what I'm saying?
Good evening, Michelle Mason-Cup, Deputy City Attorney. My preference is that you just move it as written.
Okay. And then,
But it's the advice of the chair. If you would like us to rewrite it before action, we can also do that.
well, of course, we don't know what I think is the prevailing thought of the committee to approve this? Alderman Fisk, do you? Yeah, okay, all right. Alderman Holmes?
Absolutely.
All right, then I think we should, what?
I'm just looking at the memo. It says approval granting major zoning relief necessary to subdivide.
The ordinance as drafted is that you would, sorry, hold on one second. Let me just double check this before I say it.
Just, wait. Zoning Board of Appeals recommends denial of zoning.
But the ordinance grants it.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
This happened to us once before in the last month or so.
No, well, the beginning of the memo indicates that it's recommending. The beginning of the memo recommends passing the ordinance. It's, so the ZBA thing is just more like a comment or an aside.
All right, let's move introduction as it is.
As written.
Sorry, you did move that, right, Alderman Wilson? Did you?
Yes.
Yeah,
If
okay.
I didn't, I will.
All those in favor of recommending this ordinance to the council for introduction, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, there. Draw that confusion I caused. Items for discussion, any items for discussion? None? All right. Move for adjournment, please. What?
That's been
Oh, I'm
removed.
sorry. P5 has been withdrawn by the applicant.
Wait. I think I got mixed up. Okay.
910 Hinman has
The
been
original,
withdrawn.
yeah, they're just, okay.
Okay, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been withdrawn. All right, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.